You were at the boxing gym yesterday for a little bit. And
yes, I'm going to begin my training so I can finally fight Pearl.
You informed me that, Pearl Davis wants to have a boxing match with you. What did you do to upset her?
I don't know.
Like,
I think she's upset that I have people on my streams, such as Keanu, who are critical of her and like call her ugly. And then she'll just sort of generalize. She'll say, oh, all of you called me ugly.
Have you ever called her ugly?
No, all of you have said this when it's like, no, it's like 2 out of 9 people. Or 3 out of 6 people.
That's another gay thing about the internet is that the guilt by association shit.
It's too much. It's like,
it's just like, oh, well, you think this. I'm like, I've never talked about this. It's like, yeah, but you had this person on your show. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's just the amount of, I hate to use the word immaturity, but that's kind of what it is. It's like, I just want people who do shit like that. I just wonder, like, do you ever look in the mirror and see like lines in your face and go, I should not be talking like this. Like, I am too old to be going, yeah, this person who's on my computer, they talked to another person that I've seen on my computer that said mean things about the other person that I saw on my computer. And it's like, dude, you're 43. Let it go.
It's crazy.
But
I think I do want a boxer.
You want a boxer?
Yeah, I think
you do know you're going to have to be on the shelf for a while.
I don't know. Can't I just wear padding?
I mean, well, maybe, but that's unfair. Now you have an advantage.
Right. I'm like the blind kid on the football team.
Exactly. You're like the Down syndrome running back.
Yeah, you wouldn't hit a pregnant woman, would you?
Exactly.
And she would, actually.
She probably would.
Yeah.
She would hit a pregnant. But she would hit a pregnant man, but she would misgender him while she's doing it. Ooh. I do find her whole thing, I don't have anything against her. I don't know her. But I do find her whole thing to be very put on.
I wonder, yeah.
I like the whole, I'm the female Andrew Tate. You don't say that about yourself.
Yeah, trademark. Yeah,
other people.
I'm letting you know what I'm branding myself as.
Yeah, she had like that interview with Piers Morgan. I watched it, and I'm like, I just got a real try-hard vibe from it. And Piers wasn't really buying her bullshit. He was like, this seems like you're just doing this to upset people.
I would rather hear like personal stories and like see a vulnerable side to her. And since we really don't, it's hard to like buy it. It's much easier to like listen to her content and be like, oh, this is a shtick. Like, this is your brand, not like we don't know you as a person.
Yeah, and that's kind of all it is. It is just complete shtick and like commenting on other stuff. And again, we just don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to, and here's the give and take I think that should happen. If you're going to deep dive and analyze all this different shit, you got to be willing to put your own kind of self-analysis out there,
too. Yeah, let's talk about your failed relationships. Let's talk about what made you realize you were doing it wrong.
Yeah. So, like, does she go, like, again, because I don't know much, does she, like, go hard at people?
She does. She'll go so hard on people's looks, but if someone mentions hers, oh, well, that's not allowed.
That's so easily avoidable. Just stop. If you know that you don't like that, don't do it to other people because you know it's the fucking internet. You know for a fact that's the first thing they're going to go to because it upsets you. And then you do it about other people. And then, like you said, you get mad at you because Keanu called her ugly.
Right. She'll go off like a woman, basically her innards evaporate as soon as she turns 30. And but then she'll also, it's weird, she's changed her messaging a lot. She's jumped around between like,
as she gets closer
married,
to 30.
Get kids, make kids right away, to don't get married. Now she's like basically doing MGTOW talking points. Like, don't ever get married. Like, I don't know if she's pro vasectomy in that camp, but she's definitely like, it's not worth it for men to get married. I'm like, that doesn't actually help people. Like, that's my biggest criticism of her is like, I don't think she cares about helping people.
Right.
Because like there's such a small percentage of the population that actually can function and be totally alone. That's men, that's women, that's all people. Right. Most of us need a partner, need a ride or die, need somebody to help us get us through life. And I just encouraging people to just never get married. It's like, all right, you're kind of encouraging people then to not date because people are going to date and fall in love. And some guys like, a lot of guys really do want to get married, and a lot of guys want to be dads.
Yeah.
And so what do you say to your fans that want to be dads? Don't get married. That's bad for everyone.
There's nothing worse. Like, there's nothing worse for the commentator themselves than being here's what you need to do, person. Because the only way that can end is with it blowing up in your face and you looking like shit. Because now anything you've ever done wrong is fair game. Anything people, and if you don't, like you said, if you don't come out with it and tell people what's fucked up about you, and you start telling other people what to do, the internet's going to find it. And then that's going to be even worse. So I don't know, like the whole do whatever the fuck you want just seems to be the most effective message, because you can never be called a hypocrite. You can never be called, oh, you preach this, but you don't do that. It's like, and also, why do you give a shit about these strangers enough to tell them, you know, it's like a doctor never meeting someone and diagnosing them. It's like a really dumb thing to do. It's like, I've never met any of you people listening to my stream, but here's what you need to do to make yourself happy. It's like, seems like a recipe for creating a serial killer.
Argument was like, why would I never take advice from somebody who you're not necessarily like envious of, but especially don't take relationship advice from someone who's not in a relationship. Like, well, you can learn from their failures. Well, she's not talking about her failures. She's not, as far as I heard, being like, oh my God, I was in these relationships and here were the red flags and here's what I've learned and here's the kind of guy I'm looking for now.
She doesn't, and I don't know her.
She just shits on women.
She doesn't strike me as the type that has had a lot of relationships. Because just the way she gives advice does not seem like someone who's experienced a whole lot of things, because it's very generic.
Advice isn't just saying don't. Like, that's not advice, because people sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, you can't fight the moonlight, boys and girls, all right? Sometimes you're just going to like be like, yeah, I got to eat that ass. But Pearl says don't, because this is a slippery slope to marriage. Don't get attached.
I would really love to eat your ass, but the 6-foot-tall volleyball player on the internet says no.
She makes valid points when she brings up how marriage and the court systems are unfairly geared towards, like, toxic women can absolutely benefit from and manipulate these systems. But like, okay, what's easier, to get to know what marriage really is and how the court systems really work and then pick somebody good, or just bitch about marriage, never get married, be alone and miserable forever, or like dismiss that and pick someone shitty? Do not pick someone who you think it's even in the realm of possibility to do this to you. And you can date someone and look for signs and observe the person you're dating.
So her advice now is just don't get married?
Don't get married. It's a huge risk. I can understand her points. Yeah, it is.
But before,
it's a risk for men if you pick the wrong person.
But before, wasn't she like you said, like women should have kids and be wives?
Oh, she'll also push like, as soon as you turn a certain age, like women lose their value. She at one point tweeted out like 16-year-olds are hotter than 26-year-olds, which she had to delete. But she's all about like younger women are hotter. Everyone prefers hotter, younger women. And then she triggers the women that are like, well, actually, I look better now in my 30s than I did in my 20s. And she doesn't care about that, because she just is going basis on the one metric of fertility. That's like her one thing that she claims men value above all else in all scenarios. So
do you notice, though, that as she gets older and gets closer to these numbers, the advice changes? I wonder
if she's going, my gosh, I'm 2, 3, 4 years away from being a hypocrite. You know?
Yeah, right, exactly. And I just, why people would want to set themselves up. And then they always get mad when they get called out. And it's like, how did you not see this coming?
Yeah.
You've been sitting there telling everybody what to do. They've been telling you to go fuck yourself. You won't go fuck yourself. And then when they finally go, oh, yeah, here's this, you're going to cry about
Everything she gives off and says is kind of like a fuck you, by and large, to women. And then she's surprised and shocked when women come after her and are critical of her. So it's like, well, you're kind of inviting this.
You're shitting on them, and they're defending themselves by shitting on you back. And she's like, there's nothing more empty that a person can be than the I triggered somebody person. Like, that's your whole thing. Is like, oh, you see this person had a completely valid defense of themselves and criticism of me? Well, I've clearly triggered them. It's like, no, they're shitting on you back. Like, that's not, I don't know if they're triggered.
And I think ultimately she doesn't really care about helping people. She just knows, she knows whose names trend with hers in the algorithm. She knows what to talk about.
She's algorithm hopping.
Yeah, she's an algorithm fucker. And well, she's very smart. Business-wise, extremely smart. Knows her shit.
But that makes the advice disingenuous.
Was raised with money. Like, she's doing very well. She's a good business sense.
Do you think she's mad?
She's a girl boss, and she's running her business, like hiring people, has a podcast network that she's building, but also don't want women to vote and don't want women to be girl bosses. So she's a little bit of a conundrum there.
Say what you want about Andrew Tate, and there's plenty to say, but you can't call yourself the female Andrew Tate because Andrew Tate, when people shit on him, he doesn't really seem to give a fuck.
No.
Like he just kind of keeps doing his thing. Like I find him converting to Islam to be one of the most like form-fitting things.
Yeah, and he's not triggered by criticism the way Pearl is.
Yeah, he's like, this is what I believe about women, or where the fuck that accent is from.
I like that. I think I would like Andrew Tate better if he had a British accent.
But I don't know what that accent is. There's a weird. Sometimes it sounds British, and then sometimes it sounds like he's from the Midwest, and then sometimes like Eastern Europe. It's a real mishmash.
He's got a real small head. I can't get past his head size.
I don't know. There's something like about him that like other people get upset about, and I don't really agree or disagree too much. I'm not affected by Andrew Tate, but there is something about someone who takes the criticism, keeps doing their thing. You know, there's no lying in him, basically, is what I'm saying. Like he is who he is, and that's why I don't understand people getting mad at him, because I'm like, well, he's not lying to you. He's telling you exactly who he is. Take it or don't.
Right. And don't get involved with him. Like he wants what he wants. He doesn't want to compromise for any chick.
Yeah.
Business-wise or relationship-wise, women for him are a means to an end. And I think he triggers people because he reminds women of like the bad boy that they thought they could fix or not, like lock down. And then maybe men, like he reminds men of like, oh, you're the guy who fucking stole my girlfriend.
It's the woman who the guy openly on the first date tells her, like says maybe, I don't want kids. And then they stay with them for 5 years. And then she goes, but I wanted to have kids. And he's like, bitch, I told you. Like,
day one.
I don't want to. And she's like, but I didn't think you were serious. It's like, I don't see how this is my problem.
I wanted to change your mind. Be like, but I want to have them with you.
Yeah. It's like, it's easier to just find someone who already wants that.
Yes, but he's got, he's a bad boy. And what bad boys give off is like sometimes women, we don't let the dog crawl on the desk?
What the fuck are you doing, bud? He never does this.
Oh, he loves it.
He never does this.
You want to push a button?
Gordy, are you a good boy?
Yes.
Are you a good boy?
Good.
What do you do? Oh, do you want to go down?
You want to go down?
Come on, bud. You want to go down?
Down.
Let's see.
Yeah, he hasn't been on the floor in a while.